perseverance. Based on the recent tax exemption by His Excellency Professor Ben Ayade for low-income earners like petty traders, market women, taxi and keke drivers, shop owners, etc. Many people now need more information and enlightenment. So, if you want to know more about categories of persons exempted in Cross River State, the consequences of exemption, tax exemption and presumptive tax regime, and execution of exemption orders by the Board of Internal Revenue, join a team of tax justice monitors from Tax Justice and Governance Platform in partnership with Niger Delta Budget Monitoring Group Ndebumog with support from Oxfam under Financing for Development Project on Radio Nigeria Canaan City 99.5 FM Calabar in an interactive sensitization program on tax exemption for low-income earners. Date Wednesday 15th July 2020. Time 9 a.m. Don't miss out. Happy listening.
This is the opportunity you've been waiting for. Radio Nigeria Canaan City 99.5 FM Calabar is here to partner with you and ensure your business gets to the next level of success. Are you a businessman, politician, a religious leader, an entrepreneur, educationist, an industrialist, or just looking for a means of getting across to your audience without stress? We are ready to cover your events through our news, jingle placement, personal paid announcement, program sponsorship, plus many other media packages. So come to us. We are poised to bridge the gap between you and your target audience with the lowest cost per thousand. Yes, our rate is pocket friendly. We've got the reach and the coverage. We specialize in tailoring programs to suit the listening pleasure of all listeners scattered all over the state and beyond. Visit our marketing office today in our broadcasting house located at Lemna Road, Ikodifan, Calabar. Come, let's talk business. For more inquiries, call our studio on 0803 295 9463. Radio Nigeria, Canaan City 99.5 FM Calabar. There is no place like home.
We don't pride #1, but we are Africa's largest radio network. Radio Nigeria, Canaan City 99.5.
Good morning once more, and good to have you on our frequency 99.5. My name is Prince Alobi, and welcome you to the breakfast on Wednesday. Today is the 15th day in the month of July. Good to know that you're right here this Wednesday morning again, and of course, last Wednesday we had a wonderful time at about this time talking on the issue of tax exemption for low-income earners, and that has been a series for a period of weeks now. And so today we are actually taking it again for those who actually missed out last week, but this time around in another direction, of course. And so we're going to be looking at it this morning. Now, without wasting so much time going into the program this morning, I'll give you a number for you to call us this morning and share your thoughts on, and then also ask questions if you want to ask on the recent issue of the tax exemption by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Cross River State, Senator Professor Ben Ayade, who actually exempted low-income earners from taxes or taxation in our state. Now, looking at it today, we are going to be having representatives from Ndebumog, and of course someone else as well from the Calabar Chamber of Industry as well to look at it. So this morning, okay, let me give you the number now for those of you who want to actually save the number so you can call us. The number is 0811 33 33 611. That's the number for you to call this morning and share your thoughts on the tax exemption and ask your questions if you do have any questions to ask. 0811 33 33 611. That's the number for you to save and call us. In the studio this morning, a regular name, on this program and a voice to talk about the tax exemption in the state is the Tax Justice and Governance Platform representative here in the studio, Barrister Itorok Williams. I want to thank you very much, sir, for coming again.
Good morning and thank you.
Good to have you. And also here, of course, a fresh voice this morning to look at this as well on the angle of the Chambers of Industries. The Executive Secretary, Calabar Chamber of Industries. Here is Mr. Kenneth Asenita. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Very well. All right, now this morning, let's go straight to the talk for today. Now, we will actually want to still re-emphasize on the consequences of exemption and who is supposed to be paid, who is supposed to pay, of course, the taxes, and who is exempted from the taxes as well, and execution order. The Chamber of Industries as well, the small-scale businesses defined by us. What are small-scale industries, and how long do you intend to remain in the small-scale industry? All right, this morning, let me start up with, as usual, Barrister Itorok Williams this morning. Now, let's look at the exemption by His Excellency again on the issue of taxes for low-income earners. Now, once again, I hope you are ready to give us a rundown of this once more. For those people who didn't follow us last week, who would like to follow us today, of course, we have a lot of followership so far talking about this issue, and a lot of people who want to contribute. His Excellency exempted some people, in quotes, the low-income earners from taxes. And of course, we have the past few weeks looked at the difference between the low-income earners, I mean the taxes, levies, and other dues as well. But we'll come to that. Who are these people again, Barrister, who His Excellency have said this particular category of people will not pay taxes in Cross River State?
Well, thank you, and good morning, Cross River. I expect to have a lot of backlash from Ken this morning. Being a representative of the Calabar Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and he had been advocate for reduction of taxes, or he had also been advocating that there has been too many multiple taxation on especially the small scale businesses. And I remember we have worked on this for a couple of years, even when we had a program that was centered on making sure that the laws on taxes or taxation is made available for cross surveillance. And today, as at what we've been talking about, obviously, is that tax exemption for low-income earners. And we kept saying, who are the low-income earners, and who are the persons who are not supposed to pay tax? In the course of this, His Excellency, in his pronouncement, mentioned especially taxi drivers, hawkers, table markets, people with table markets, and people with small stores, and especially people who hopped on Keke Napep, that's the tricycle riders, and such category of persons. But like I had always said for a couple of weeks now, I've always said that it won't be too good to exempt people from taxes totally. That they have been advocating for reduction of the taxes. And again, we had also said people should not confuse taxes with charges, levies, and other such costs that are attached to services.
Okay.
Right? That are attached to services. Taxes are those obligatory payments you are obliged to pay to the government coffers. It's compulsory. It's compulsory. Like I said last week, if the governor had been so magnanimous to save a lot of people a number of or a category of persons should not pay tax. But we are saying that it will have adverse effects on them eventually. At the beginning, it may sound very good that you are not paying taxes, and I want to tell you, not many people pay taxes. It will have adverse effects on the persons. It will have adverse effects on the government as well, and it will have adverse effects on the development. Like I mentioned last week, and we've experienced it today, the load leading to your station is in a deplorable situation, and we need taxes. Luckily today, I think I saw some construction workers trying to look at the place, and I'm sure something is going to happen about it, and perhaps it might also be the fact that we've been harping on it from this station. So as it is today, we are going to continue discussing the reason. We are going to give reason for why we are telling His Excellency, or why we are appealing to policymakers to not totally exempt taxes, but have a reduction in taxes, so that everybody will have the status of being a citizen of Cross River State. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people will be deprived of what is supposed to come to them when it requires that you bring evidence of tax payment. Like I said the other time, it is not the Pharaoh that knows Joseph today that may be there tomorrow. So we have to be very careful about what we are doing. Thank you.
All right, now let's look at the fact that you mentioned the taxi drivers, the keke riders, and some of the small-scale sellers on the streets and all of that. Now, do these people actually pay taxes? Were they really paying taxes, or they were just paying levies? Now, looking at the fact that most of these people pay ticket money, were those taxes?
No, like I mentioned, those are not taxes, actually. Those are not taxes. If we had a formalized taxi company that taxi drivers are driving and they are being paid a salary, they will pay taxes from their payee, pay as you earn. All right? They will pay taxes from their payee. Now, the only people that I think pay taxes are owners of small businesses, which is why we spoke about the fact that there is presumptive tax, this presumptive tax regime that says if you have a business, this type sizes of business in this area, if it is in the rural area, if it's in the urban area, you pay a certain amount of money. And that is because you do not have the ability to engage a formal accounting firm to do your audits, so that we determine what profits you've made at the end of the year. Because taxes are gotten from profits made at the end of the year, you know, or from what you earn. So at the end of the day, these people, I don't believe they have been paying taxes. And so they have been paying levies for charges for services. It's like saying now you in your community, in where you stay, and they say pay sanitation levy. All right, that's not tax. You are paying for the removal of the refuse. So at the end of the day, if you refuse to pay for that removal, your refuse won't be removed. And so you know the consequences of that. That is to say, you have a pile of refuse that will adversely affect the communities in which you are living in, and you know the effect of that too. You know. So at the end of the day, when you are charged for hawking, for using an area in the market, it's a toll. It's a toll. All right. You are paying toll. If you are charged for parking in a motor park where the local government takes care of, you are paying for use of the motor park. All right. So at the end of the day, let's not. What I'm saying is, let's not confuse taxes with these charges, levies, and tolls. All right. So because at the end of the day, the local government, the consequence is that the local government are going to be losing a lot of money. Because when they said stop paying taxes, everybody hung on it and said, tickets, no, I won't pay. I don't know about tickets. I don't know what they use the money for tickets for anyway. But at the end of the day, so they've said, like you heard the taxi man say last week, we're not paying tickets anymore. We're not paying tickets anymore. But what will happen if they start coming to collect it? Because these people are going to now realize that tickets are not taxes. So let's look at the situation where we can balance it. That's what we're trying to do, so that it won't cause problems.
All right, you can call us now, 08 11 33 33 611, and share your thoughts or ask your question on the tax exemption policy by His Excellency, the Governor, Professor Ben Ayade. He announced that he wants low-income earners not to pay taxes to the government anymore. Of course, he has inaugurated a team to look at that. Now, we have the Tax Justice and Government Platform, the Endeavour, with support from Oxfam on the Financing for Development project here, talking on the issue of the taxes. And then you can share your thoughts this morning. 08 11 33 33 6 11 via SMS or a call this morning. Ask us questions if you want to. We'll be right here to pick up your calls and answer your questions as well. Let's take the very first call. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello, are you there? All right, I'm sure we are having a poor network. Now let's go back and look at expansion a little bit on the consequences. Now you started saying, giving us some part of the consequences of this exemption, which is basically the infrastructures, the roads, the hospitals, and all of that. What more consequences should people be looking out for if tax is exempted from them?
You see, it might not come out immediately. It might not have the effect immediately, but let me say this: at the end of the day, most of the things we benefit from government requires us to show that we had been active taxpayers, right? We had been active taxpayers. Like I keep mentioning, for instance, that's your very brilliant child in the village who is able to write an exam and be a beneficiary of a scholarship to study better and further. At the end of the day, at the point where you are trying to fill this form to show that you are a cross-Siberian, you are a Nigerian, you need to show evidence of payment of taxes. Right? It is except now, because at the end of the day, everybody is becoming indigent because of the fact that there are a category of persons that shouldn't pay tax. So everybody is getting to become indigent. Even a farmer in the village who has a very long yam ban is starting to say he or she is indigent, and so they are poor. They shouldn't pay taxes. You know. So at the end of what we are trying to say is, it will have effect. That child may not be able to get that scholarship because you can't show evidence of tax payments. And I kept saying, sometimes you have the opportunity to the poor to improve their businesses, and I know that Ken will support me on that. The poor in a bid to improve their businesses go to the bank to obtain, no matter how small the loans are. Even in the COVID palliative loans now, you are required to show when you are filling those things. The reason most persons haven't been able to get their money, they don't understand. Perhaps they haven't been able to show evidence
of payment of taxes.
Those taxes. Because even when you print your bank statement and you say you're a worker, it's supposed to show that you have been paying taxes, you know. So at the end of the day, in even getting loans, you might be refused loans. Of course, you will be refused loans if you can't show evidence of payment of taxes. And also that will further make you more indigent than you were before. Because at the end of the day, you are not able to improve on your business. And the man I came here with last week from the Board of Internal Revenue, who said that most of these exemptions, most of these taxes are used to help the poor. At the end of the day, like the market money and all those kind of things. And so if people don't pay, at the end of the day, you may not be benefiting from these things. I know it's a good thing to say don't pay, but it has been ingrained from time. Taxes have been ingrained from time. So we can't start what we are advocating for. I am not saying that His Excellency did anything wrong, but I'm saying is that we shouldn't totally exempt people or reduce the taxes. That is what we are advocating for. We are advocating for just taxation, basically.
Okay, I'm seeing your text messages already, so you can drop more. One or two more text messages will be good. But you can call us well 0811 33 33 611. We'll be honored to have your call coming if you want to send us, probably call us, and let's talk about the taxes and low income earners not paying tax in Cross River State. Now let me come to Mr. Kenneth Asamita. Of course, Barrister has dragged you in already on the conversation. On what? Now let's look at this. How is the Chamber of Industries coordinating the formal sector with regards to the tax exemption issued by His Excellency in Cross River State?
Okay, thank you very much. William has said a lot. In terms of coordinating the formal sector for this tax exemption, well, it may interest you to know that the majority of the formal sector are not covered by most of these exemptions, because it's very clear, what categories of persons are meant to be. Now, most of those businesses are businesses you find within the informal sector of the economy. Now, apart from the formal sector, yes, we try to engage with most of the informal sector to get this, but we have a big challenge, and that challenge basically boils down from the fact that there is no clear regulations concerning these exemptions. Now, if we look at His Excellency's pronouncements early this year, it's nothing new, because back in 2015, Cross River State had passed a law. That's Cross River State Law number 13 of 2015, which is basically provides for tax exemption for low-income earners, which was supposed to affect low-income earners in the civil service, and both in the civil service and private sector. Now, if you look at the provisions of that law, you would see that it requires the government annually to provide a list of persons that are going to be beneficiaries of this exemption. Now, over time, even up till now, that list is not clear.
Is it only in Cross River State? This is
Cross River State. Now, however, we know that in the Finance Bill of 2020 has clearly stated what categories of businesses are going to be exempted from taxes. If your turnover is less than 25 million, you are exempted from paying corporate income tax. If you're, I think that's provision for the Finance Bill for 2020. But however, we're looking at the Cross River State tax exemption law. Now, this law provides that those lists of beneficiaries must be laid before the House of Assembly at the beginning of every year, and those lists passed into law, which means the Commissioner for Finance needs to come up with a regulation. But since 2015 up till now, we've not seen any regulation that clearly specifies something. Now, in his last statement, when we talked about this is in support of I'm not getting too much backlash anyway.
I noticed there's not much backlash, but I know it to come.
There's something William mentioned, and in terms of it's dangerous to do that sort of blanket exemption. Now, His Excellency mentioned taxis, keke, market women, and I specifically heard hotels that have less than 50 rooms.
And how
now,
many hotels?
If we look at that, I'm going to give you a list from our database. Almost 70% of hotels in Cross River State have less than 50 rooms. So what we are telling ourselves now is that only 30% of the hotels in Cross River State are going to be paying taxes. The remaining 70% are not going to be paying. Now look at the huge loss in revenue government is going to be facing. Now let's go back to others. Direct taxes, payee taxes for civil servants in low-income areas. If you look at it, take a cursory glance into the IGR of Cross River State. For 2019, it was about 26 billion naira. If you take a cursory look at it, 65% of that figure is coming mostly from direct taxes, payee taxes, and now you are exempting most of these categories of people from paying these taxes. It means you're going to be losing almost something between the range of 30 to 35% of your IGR from your taxation. Now that's going to put government in a serious quagmire on how they're going to fund their programs, how they're going to fund their activities, how they're even going to he manages to pay salaries. With
these statistics you have given to us already, do we see anywhere where the state government is actually, or maybe looking for an avenue to cover up for probably the losses.
That is the danger. That is the problem Cross River State is standing to face. Now, what is going to happen is that you are going to see a situation where government is going to fall back on the remaining 30% of the economy, because the Cross River State economy is made up of 70% informal sector. Now, there's going to be pressure on the remaining 30%, which are made of bigger companies, to fill up that gap. And we're beginning to see it, because we know that as we speak right now, the state government is making plans to review the road infrastructure maintenance levy, law, to increase those levies. Now, we've known the impact of what that levy has already done to our mining sector in the state. Now, imagine that you're going to increase it. It's going to even put more burden on those companies. So the few companies left there may decide to still pack up and leave. Now, what the effect of that is that you're going to see higher unemployment within our state, because most of these companies, if the burden is getting too much for them, and some of them decide to pack up and leave, that automatically results to job losses. And when those job losses come, those people that used to pay, those staff that used to pay taxes, are no longer paying taxes. So you see the ripple effect on some of the statements. Now, tax exemptions in itself are not bad things. They're supposed to be incentives for businesses. They're supposed to be, but they're also supposed to be tenured in terms of time bound.
Okay, I'll
you don't just give it blanket for.
You are going to tell us more about the tenure there. Let's take this call. This morning, it's very important we take a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good to have you this morning. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, just Patrick calling from.
Say your name again, please. I'm audible.
Calling from Accra.
We can't hear you very well. What's it?
Yeah, Patrick.
Patrick. Okay, where are you calling from, Patrick? Okay, Patrick, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You're far away from your phone or something. Okay, but speak up and let's hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead. Hello, Patrick.
In dealing with chambers of commerce and industry. Did you get that?
Patrick, I'd like you to call back. All right, I'd like you to call back because I'm sure you have a very cool stuff to talk about this morning, and then of course we'd like to have it coming in smoothly. 08 11 33 33 6 11. Yes, Mr. Ken, I'd like you to continue.
Yeah, okay. I was talking about that it typically should be tenured, so that it's within a certain period. Now, the essence of tax exemptions are basically to incentivize businesses, either to produce more, either to employ more, either to make them, to help develop the economy, or to help ameliorate a period of crisis like we have during this COVID-19 issues a lot of businesses are facing. So you might see a situation where the government decides, okay, fine, throughout this period, I'm going to exempt you. Now, exemptions also can be done either on your total income or on partial. Now, these are ways that government can use to manage to. Now, what happens basically is that when you exempt, it now incentivizes the other person to do more, either produce more, either employ more, or do more, which, periodically, on the other hand, it also adds to the economy of the state. But where you're giving a blanket exemption like this over a long period, the tendency is that when you're facing those challenges in raising internally generated revenue, you are going to begin to fall back or put more pressure on the higher strata of society. Now, what happens is that you may see businesses shutting down. You may see businesses deciding to scale down their operations, move out, or find alternative, environments. Now, these businesses are already facing a lot of challenges. So, adding this pressure to them I don't know how to place it. Well, but basically, tax exemptions are meant to be statutory exemptions to a general rule rather than a straightforward rule blanketly. Okay. All right. So I'm sure that, of course, Barrister, you have something to add up too.
Yeah. Adding up with just mean that I just want some things to say. But the issue now is I'm thinking of the consequence again. I'm thinking of adding to the consequences is the amount of money the state is going to be losing, especially like Ken said, hotels with less than 50 rooms. And how many hotels in Cross River has up to 50 rooms? And so at the end of the day, but that will reduce the hike in prices during Christmas, during Carnival, if there's going to be Carnival. And so these people will now be cheating the government by not paying their taxes.
I think cheating. They're not cheating. They've been allowed to not pay.
No, the consequence is that they'll be cheating the government.
Make more profit.
They'll be making more profits. Yes. And we can't determine the profit they make because they're already exempted.
Now, is anything wrong with them making more profit?
No.
They're businesses.
They're businesses. But when you make profit, you also pay based on your profit, because it's compulsorily you have to pay based on your profit.
Well, what the man who's collecting the money says, don't give me.
Hello.
All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Yes, what's your name? Hello? Okay, Patrick. Okay, go ahead, Patrick. Let's hear you.
Exemption. So, as the the chamber covers the industry, how is it?
All right, Patrick, we would love to hear you. I think it's not just me. Send us a text message. We would like to hear you. We can't get you clearly, please. Sorry about that. Hello, good morning. Next caller.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
My name is Dari.
Your name is?
Wale Adebayo.
Okay, Wale, go ahead.
Yeah. And the okay, the level of the
Wale, I think we can equally not hear you as well, and I don't know what's going on with the network. All right, we are going to work on it, and then of course we are going to ensure that we have a smooth conversation with everyone calling us now. Please bear with us. Call us in the next 1 minute so we can start our device. All right, 0811 33 33 611. That's the number for you to call us now, and so we can get to hear you clearly. And if you can't get us clearly, or we can't speak with you, interact better, please do us a text message. That will do. We'll read out your text message, and of course we'll trash it as well. Okay, Barrister, let me come to you now. Yeah. Now, with all of this we have said already, have this advocation for reduction, not exemption of totality, rather that's total exemption, has it been has this suggestion been given to His Excellency the Governor?
Well, in advocacy, you speak out, and one of the things we are trying to do is get the response of the people who are calling in, all right, because they develop a policy brief or advocacy policy brief. We need to get the response from the general public so that it won't be just our thoughts. We'll also hear from the people we're advocating on behalf of, because you can't speak for people what they don't want you to. They don't want to speak for themselves. So one of the reasons for this radio program, and even our visits to the various groups that are concerned, shows that they agree. Remember, the first time we came here, we came with the chairman of the markets group,
yes,
and he accepts that there is no need for total exemption because it will confuse a lot of things. That it might also make people not pay their levies in the markets.
Okay,
for services.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, I think I'm having difficulties hearing you as well. So sorry about that. Hello, next caller. Can you help us speak up if you can? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Is it there? Next caller, are you there? Good morning. Anybody there? Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
Okay.
I'm from Accra. Is Austin.
What's your name again? Austin.
Ofiong Rock.
Ofiong. Okay, Ofiong or Rock. Okay, go ahead, sir.
My question is they don't have today's agreements with governments. Government tax payments. Don't they consider them to make it get payments? Or they had agreements with
Okay, I would like you to spend a little of your time sending me a text message. Let me start reading out the text messages here so that we can go, because I think the network today is not being friendly. All right, let me take the text messages here so that we won't drag everybody backward. This one says, good evening. Okay, let me take not this one. Okay, you said, please, my name is Udo. I'm asking if the government is aware that people. Oh, let me take the text messages, please. You just send a text message, don't call. If the government is aware that people still collect taxes in the markets, whether they are taxes or levies in most markets up till this moment, has the ban on the for low-income earners been lifted? All right, that's Udo here sending a text message to us. And then, of course, let me take this other one, and this one says, okay, well, I'll be taking them as soon as I. Good morning, management of Canaan City FM. Is it that? Oh, okay. That's not for us. All right, I'll take the text messages as they come in. Well, somebody is still saying that people are still paying taxes in the market as we speak right now. Well, he didn't get to tell us which of the markets, if it's Watt Market, Maria Market, Akim Market, or Timber, whatever market. But he says there's still payment of taxes.
There are two things. One, we had said earlier on that people should not confuse taxes with levies, charges, and fees. And two, markets, domain of the local government council. Now, if I go back to the Nigerian tax policy, 2015, it clearly, breaks tax responsibilities. Even the law of LFN, law of 2004, which are taxes and levies law of Nigeria, clearly demarcates what taxes the state government can pay, what taxes local government can pay, what taxes state can collect, local government and federal government can collect. Now, it would be, I think it would be a travesty of justice if the state government will now interfere or make regulations for local governments concerning this without the consent and support of the local government councils. Now, as far as I know, a lot of these local government councils will need to collect these levies and fees because there's a number of services they are expected to provide within that market space. So the state government coming to say there's a ban on taxes, it didn't say there's a ban or exemption on levies and fees. So, but what most of the local government councils are collecting within the market sphere are actually levies and fees for services provided. For daily use of the market, you pay their daily tolls, you pay sanitation fee for the cleaning of the market thing you pay, and also for the security of the market. So what I really don't understand, and I'm sure the law, Cross River State Law, Tax Exemption Law number 13 of 2015 does not talk about the local government taxes, levies and fees. Now, in the first place, I don't think the local government in itself collects taxes. All their charges are actually levies and fees. Now, the problem really is not exemption in taxes. It is the multiplicity, duplicity, and illegality of the lot of levies, fees, taxes, or whatever collections that most of these tiers of government are doing. Now, if you look at it very carefully, in Cross River State, there's a lot of illegal collections. These are collections that are not backed by any law, any legislation whatsoever. That is the real problem. So, instead of government saying, look, we want to exempt taxes, deal with the issue of illegal collections. Stop them, remove them. Remove where there's multiplicity, remove it. Stop such multiplicities. Because you'd ask someone to pay business premises. He pays business premises in state, he pays business premises in local government. That's multiple taxation. He's paying the same thing to two different tiers of government. It's not done. The local the laws of federal Nigeria Taxes and Levies Law 2014, as amended 2015, clearly states what states collect, what local governments collect, and what federal governments collect. But where states and local governments are basically struggling to collect the same thing, it places extra burden on the taxpayer, which is what is the reason, which is the key reason why there's so much apathy on the part of the taxpayer. Because when the burden becomes too much, you're not encouraged to pay.
And this will affect the business.
It will affect the business, affect government's revenue, affects everything.
Okay, let's take some of the text messages here. This one says, nice word said this morning on the show. The governor has done his best to cut down the taxes for low-income earners in the state. But my question is, did he do a proper check on Cross River State, its income, and what the federal government gives to it for them to cut down the taxes? With the number of essays he has, he should be advised that this will affect him drastically if he means well for Cross River State. This is from Ubong. All right, thank you very much, Ubong. Let me take this other one. This one says, Eric from Akaifa, your guest said that taxi drivers pay levies, not taxes. So I want to know, what is tax for the driver? What is tax for the drivers? Okay, I think he's asking what taxes do taxi drivers pay?
Yeah. What's his name again?
Eric.
Eric. Okay. Thanks for asking that question. There is, if you had been a constant listener to this program, we had always spoken about presumptive taxes. Presumptive taxes depend on the scale of business you are doing and where you are doing it. If we are honest in paying our taxes, if you look at a taxi driver, it can be called a small business because it runs throughout the day. And in the urban area, we'll look at a situation where we should be looking at Ken. I told you Ken will give me a backlash. The way he's looking at me. Look, if you look at a taxi driver driving from morning till evening or late in the night, at the end of the day, we can just say it is not a large-scale business. It will be a middle-scale business in the urban area. And that will require, if you look at the presumptive law regime, it will require the taxi driver to pay about 3,500 naira a year.
Okay, which is
3,500 naira a year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's middle scale. It's not small. It's not large scale. In the urban area, we are talking about 3,500 naira a year. Do you understand? Okay, so at the end of the day, that's the kind of taxes they're supposed to pay. We had advised the Board of Internal Revenue to make sure that they establish the presumptive tax regime. But it hasn't happened. We have worked with them on GEMS 3 for over 3 years, trying to make sure that they establish this presumptive tax regime. I know why I'm saying this, because when I say reduction, if you look at the presumptive tax regime, we can look at the amounts the small scale, the large scale, the middle scale businesses are paying, and look at the amounts and reduce it. For instance, if you go to a small scale, a medium scale business, which may be a laundry services, all right, in in the urban areas. If you look at it, you see a laundry service owner paying 2,500 naira a year as tax. All right. If we follow that and maybe reduce it to 1,500, it will be very convenient for the people. So
but please let him have something to show that
let him or her have something to show. That is our interest.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I wish I had all.
I think I impressed Ken on that.
Yeah, I watched him. He was like, "No, you were good." Okay, Ken, I will give you 1 minute to give back the backlash, and then give it back in 1 minute.
Yeah, no. Basically, it's not backlash. He was looking at my beautiful eyes. What I want to say, basically, add to that is that yes, we've done the presumptive tax. Yes, we have categorized businesses from small. Now, where he was writing the backlash was immediately my mind took me to the categorization of small, medium, and large-scale businesses according to the MSME Nigeria MSME policy. But I remember that we had scaled it down for the purpose of Cross River State. So yes, these businesses actually should be paying this. It's small, and it is different. Like what Eric asked, taxes are compulsory payments from your income.
Yes.
Compulsory payments for your income, and there is you're not expecting any service from government. It's a compulsory payment. But for levies and fees, when you're levied something, there's a service. It's tax for service. You're expecting some service back from government for that. But taxes, no, it's a compulsory payment.
All right. Sorry, I have to cut you here because I know that you have a lot to give to me today. So, but then I'd like you to come back again. I like to have great people come back to my station and talk about great things. So thank you very much, Mr. Ken. Your final words in just 5 seconds.
Okay. I would advise His Excellency, 1, go back, look at your tax law, look at the provisions, look at your intentions, sit down carefully and review the implications for you and ensure that you are doing good so that this policy will not turn out to be an Achilles heels for the state.
Wonderful.
But rather be a tool for helping develop Cross River State.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Ken. Now, Barrister, a few words.
Well, Ken is advising His Excellency, but I'm also looking at a situation where the anti-tax agency should actually look at the situation and advise His Excellency, because that's the group that will be able to advise His Excellency, having discovered that a lot of things can be done, or some cannot be done.
Okay,
so that's it.
Thank you very much. Of course, we had this wonderful conversation once more, and this is where we want to draw the lines on the conversation this morning. It has been a great one talking with these great personalities. Of course, we had the voice of Barrister Ito Rock Williams. He is a representative of the Tax Justice and Governance Platform right here in our studio. We say thank you very much, sir, for coming. And more thanks to you, Mr. Kenneth Asmita, the Executive Secretary, Calabar Chamber of Industries, and of course, great advocate for the great things. So thanks very much, sir, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, this great people came in company of Mr. Effium Duke, the State Coordinator, Green Code, by the side. Of course, he's always by my side, coming around to ensure that he creates this wonderful conversation. Thanks very much, sir, for coming as well. And of course, we had this wonderful talk with the Tax Justice and Governance Platform and NDEBUMOG. NDEBUMOG stands for the Niger Delta Budget Monitoring Group, with support from Oxfam under financing for development projects. And of course, we talked about this tax exemption this morning. I am Prince Alobi. You love to call me the Alobi, one and only man. I call this frequency, saying thank you very much. Let's do this again next week, I guess. We'll be having our guests coming back, probably. And of course, just to let you know, in a few days, we'll be bringing up a series looking at most of this put into one wonderful series you will want to miss. Stay with us right here as we'll be giving you updates on that. Have a wonderful Wednesday, as we'll be back with other programs.
Freedom Pride #1. But we are Africa's largest radio network. Radio Nigeria, Canaan City, 99.5.